The Middle East crisis has started hitting us back at home. It has impacted supply of cooking gas and natural gas. Let's talk about LPG first, because it is something that all of us use every day. India imports 2/3 of its LPG requirement, 2/3. The Middle East accounts for up to 90% of our imports. 95% of these shipments reach us via the Strait of Hormuz. Currently, the situation at the Strait of Hormuz has led to a massive supply of disruption, as we can imagine. Hence, the government has invoked emergency powers for rationing LPG cylinders. The priority clearly is the aadmi, as it should be. As a result, the shortage of commercial LPG cylinders has triggered panic. Restaurants and hotels in different parts of the country have pressed an alarm, urging the centre to intervene. First up, let's tell you about the steps that are being taken by the centre to shield the consumer. That's the Aam Aadmi. Domestic LPG supply is being prioritized for households, and the booking period for cylinders has been increased from 21 days to 25 days. Oil refineries have been directed to boost production, while surplus gas will be diverted to meet domestic demand. Imported non-domestic LPG will be prioritized for hospitals and educational institutions. In addition, a 3-member panel has been set up to review gas supply to restaurants and hotels, ensuring essential services continue without disruption. Now, according to government sources, there has been a 10% increase in LPG production, and the Essential Commodities Act has been invoked to ensure that there is fair distribution. Officials are saying that India is better than many countries at this point of time, and that the government is in touch with other nations to secure our energy supply. They add that the country is well prepared to deal with the current situation and that there is no crisis, with sufficient energy sources available. The government is also highlighting that India has around 70 days of storage capacity for essential fuels, aiming to reassure consumers amidst concerns over supply. Let me go straight across to Hina, who is joining us on the broadcast. Hina, I understand that the government of India is asking us not to press the panic button. But is that the reality on the ground? If you have a situation where you have eateries who are being told that commercial LPG will not be supplied to them because, households are a priority, then clearly there is a problem, right?
Absolutely. But, it is also important to understand the entire LPG scenario. So let me just put things in perspective for our viewers. While I completely agree there is a bit of concern when it comes to eateries in different parts of the country. But if you look at our LPG consumption right now, say, for example, in 2025, India consumed around 31 odd million tons of LPG. Now, out of that, 87% is used by households. Only 13% goes to hotels and restaurants. Right now, the government is focusing on ensuring that this 87% supply is uninterrupted. And that's the reason why the focus largely is on households right now. And that's the reason why what we are witnessing is complete attention on domestic consumers. The oil refineries within the country have also been asked to boost production, and first priority is going to be given to the households, because understand, out of 31.3 million tons of LPG that we consume in the entire year, 87% goes only to households, and that's what the government is prioritizing right now. Now, as far as the hotels and restaurants are concerned, yes, there is a lot of concern because it's commercial usage that we are talking about. For that, in the interim, the government has set up a 3-member panel that's looking at their, issues and is trying to find out a solution. Because if you look at the priority, it has to be to safeguard the kitchens, the Aam Aadmi. That is the focus right now. And the government is also saying we're getting our imports from other routes and other sources as well.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much for putting that in perspective for us, Hina. Meanwhile, on the ground in Mumbai, in Bangalore, in Chennai, eateries aren't exactly happy. In Mumbai, in fact, 20% of the hotels and restaurants have had to shut down. Let's take a look at all the ground reports that have come to us.
मंडे हमारा डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर कमर्शियल गैस सिलेंडर आज से सप्लाई नहीं होता है करके हमारे को मैसेज दिया। हमारे को शॉक हो गया। ये जो हमारा पेट्रोलियम मिनिस्टर बोल रहे 60 दिन को हमारा प्लास स्टॉक है, हमारा पास हम दे सकते हैं करके हमारा पेट्रोलियम मिनिस्टर का एक ट्वीट है। ये जो डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर लोग हैं ना, कमर्शियल सिलेंडर सप्लाई नहीं दे रहे। अभी जो सडनली ऐसा बोल दिया तो हम होटल कैसा चलाना है?
कुछ नहीं साहब, स्थिति बहुत खराब हो रही है। अब क्या करा जाए, व्यवसाय करना ही मुश्किल हो गया। अब कहाँ से सरकार के ऊपर, बल्कि ब्लैक में लेके आया था मैं तो 2500 का सिलेंडर लेके आया था, ये वो भी आज कल मिल गया था। आज का तो कोई उम्मीद ही नहीं। व्यवसाय बंद करेंगे, क्या करा जाए। आज भर का ही है, उसके बाद नहीं है राम। मैंने फोन भी लगाया तो कह लिया भैया माल ही नहीं, तो क्या करे। अभी लड़का वहीं बेटा था तो मना कर दिया उन्होंने। मेरा तो ये निवेदन, कॉमर्शियल से कोई दिक्कत ही नहीं, सरकार को तो फायदा ही है ना, उसका डबल रेट है। कोई वो तो घरेलू रेट तो चला नहीं रहे भाई, कॉमर्शियल का तो रेट डबल है, तो उसमें डबल देने में आपको क्या दे।
Meanwhile, the opposition has been raising alarms over what they call a shortage of commercial LPG cylinders, accusing the government of turning a blind eye. They argue that warnings about India's energy security amidst the West Asia conflict was ignored, and now citizens are facing the consequences. Congress leaders have raised several concerns over the government's handling of essential supplies. They have accused the government of justifying wrong decisions. They pointed out that there is a gap between official claims and the reality on the ground. Listen in.
We are not creating panic. It's a very serious issue. The world is getting affected because of that. And Government of India wants to close their eyes and say that all is well. All is not well.
सरकार जो कह रही है और असलियत जो है उसमें फर्क है। बेंगलोर के रेस्टोरेंट एसोसिएशन, होटल एसोसिएशन ने कहा है कि हम बंद कर रहे हैं। तो कुल मिलाकर स्थिति तो ऐसी है ना।
This is not a political war. This is the need of the hour. It is our duty to raise the voice. Our entire hotel industry, commercial industry has been affected, and it is the duty of the same government to give us petrol, diesel and the gas. So it is a big failure on the central government. We want them to discuss. We will jointly raise our voice on this issue.
We are hearing from the Petroleum Minister, who is saying that the government is ensuring 100% supply of CNG and PNG to domestic consumers, stressing that there is absolutely no reason for people to panic. He is also saying that energy imports into India continue to flow, with supplies being maintained through other sources and routes. He is also saying that while domestic consumers are receiving full supply, other industries are currently getting around 70 to 80% of their usual supplies, which is why the BJP is asking, why is the opposition spreading panic? That question to my guest this evening, Tushar Gupta, joining us on the broadcast. Hi Tushar, good evening, good to have you on the show. Venugopal Swamy, spokesperson of the Congress party, he's joining us on the broadcast. Gentlemen, this will be an 8-minute discussion, so I request you to keep your comments short. Venugopal Swamy, can I please ask you why the opposition is spreading panic when the Petroleum Minister is stepping out and saying that everything is under control and that we have prioritized the aadmi? We will ensure that there are gas cylinders and enough gas cylinders for every household in India.
Shibaji, good evening to panelists. See, if you see from 2004 to 2014, UPA government was there. 2011 to 2014, the average crude prices were more than $100, madam. From 2015, almost like 2021, the NDA had an advantage to have a crude prices.
Mr. Venugopal Swamy, I'm not discussing that today. I am asking you, why is the opposition led by the Congress saying that the government is not prepared to deal with the LPG crisis that has hit India / is going to hit India?
They have no knowledge to deal with, madam. See, what we can say, if the Honorable Prime Minister has ability to deal, then we would have even suggested certain things. Even the Congress party suggests certain things. The Prime Minister has no ability to understand the real situation. Today, they themselves are giving the LPG officially in the SMS stating that the 21 days will be increased to 25 days.
Yes.
This is a today's news we are talking about. We are not talking about yesterday's news. Which means you are increased 4 days. What was the reason? Which means you are anticipating some shortages will be there for the LPG.
Okay.
If the crude prices have been increased only a week back, there was a position in the this kind of a crisis only within a week time. 1 week time also they could not
But Mr.
manage.
Venugopal
and they are
Swami, I want to
immediately
ask
increasing
you
the
whether
prices.
petrol prices
See,
have
today
increased in the
India
pump.
has, madam,
LPG prices have increased by 60 rupees. Cylinders have increased. Okay. But I want to ask you if petrol prices have increased.
no, why do they punish? Why do they punish the, see, 35 today, Shreya ji, if you understand, 35 crore LPG connections are there in our country, out of which under Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana, only 10 crore 40 lakh beneficiaries are there with regard to the subsidy.
But I still don't
Remaining people are not
understand
under
why the
subsidy.
Congress
Even
party
you
is saying
increase
that the government was not prepared for what was to come. I simply don't understand. If the government is coming out and saying, boss, there is nothing to panic as of now, we are invoking the Essential Commodities Act. We are also ensuring that there is no hoarding by increasing the waiting time from 21 days to 25 days. I'm trying to understand what the opposition's point of view is. I have not been able to understand. Tushar, have you been able to understand anything?
They are only...
No, absolutely none of it, Shreya, because look, we also produce 40% of our LPG requirements and 50% of our LNG requirements. But the opposition is making it sound as if we are completely dependent on the Middle East for all our LPG and LNG and crude requirements. That is not how it works. Number two, the Essential Commodities Act has been invoked for a reason, because there are going to be all characters who like to hoard stuff and therefore drive up the prices. Right now, the government is very clear. The priority is the domestic consumer and the industries. They are not differentiating between the two. They are not saying this is going to be a complete shutdown. So this whole hysteria about restaurants shutting down, I don't really know where it comes from. I mean, these are the same restaurants that have survived the pandemic, 3 months of shutdown. And today they are saying 3 days of disruption in the LNG and the LPG markets and they'll shut down. This is where this entire thing becomes a hysteria. No doubt people will have concerns and the government is addressing them. State and the center are addressing them. But to suddenly make this hysteria, you know what this leads to? This leads to panic buying. This leads to the same kind of crisis we had with the oxygen cylinders, which was a manufactured crisis, as it later turned out. And this is what the government is telling, that we have the supply, there are strategic reserves, there is domestic production, you do not have to worry. But the opposition is hell-bent on creating the same situation they did with the oxygen cylinders in 2021.
Okay, but Tushar, to claim that all is well will also not be correct, because the fact is that commercial cylinders are not being made available, right? There is a shortage and it is expected. There is a problem, and the problem will probably get bigger as the war continues. The question is how the government deals with it. So far, the government seems to have dealt well with it. So, Venugopal Swami, I'm again asking you, why is the opposition creating panic when, as of now, there is no need to press the panic button? Maybe 10 days from now, there is a reason for the opposition to press the panic button. But today, there is no reason. Why are you doing it? I haven't been able to understand the logic.
The very core issue, Shreya ji, the very core issue, our Honorable Prime Minister has no courage to talk about the war today. See, he is claiming we are a superpower country, though we are not. Okay, we are a largest economy, the fourth largest economy, the BJP is claiming. We are a 135 rank in the per capita income. See, when you are claiming, it is the claim of Honorable Prime Minister, then let the Honorable Prime Minister come and tell in the public that we are not a puppet country. We have say something when it is happening in the Asian country.
That is a separate discussion.
When the war is happening,
that is a separate discussion.
Indians are there in the Middle East.
Mr. Swami, when the opposition demands a separate discussion on the Gulf War, it is a justified ask. Whatever your complaints are, whatever your concerns are, it is a justified ask. It's what is playing out in the Middle East is a very big thing. But today we are talking about LPG cylinders and the shortage and the I.N.D.I.A Bloc creating a panic. I am asking you a question. You are saying Prime Minister is not discussing the war. We are not discussing the war here, sir.
The core reason, Shreya ji, the core reason, if we are unable to command the world, if we are unable to command why there was an attack on Iran, if you are
that's none of our business.
Automatically you have to
How is
suffer.
it our
Today,
business?
It is a practical
What happened in
on ground.
Iran?
We are
What
seeing in
happened in
Bangalore.
Belarus is
See, I
none of
came
our
today.
business.
I came today. Even in Nagpur, what they are saying, there is a shortage. I was in the morning Hyderabad. There is a shortage.
Okay.
Tomorrow I am going to Bangalore. There is a shortage.
I'm not
Everywhere
saying
we
there
are
is
seeing
no
in the
shortage.
regional channels, there is a shortage.
I'm not saying that there is no
People are
shortage of commercial cylinders, LPG cylinders. I'm not saying that. I don't think Tushar can also say that.
Then it is the symptom. It is the symptom that it is a failure of the government. It is a failure of the government. Within 3 days, if they can't maintain, within 3 days, if the war goes about 1 year, what is we can expect from this honorable Prime Minister? If he doesn't have ability or if he has no knowledge, let the every morning call Mr. Rahul Gandhi ji, our LOP, the beloved leader of this country.
Mr. Swami,
Absolute nonsense.
Mr. Swami,
Absolute nonsense.
do you know anyone, Mr. Swami, right now, do you know anyone who's run out of LPG cylinders in their home? You have LPG cylinder in your home? You will make a booking, in 25 days you will get another one.
It is a government.
If I want an LPG cylinder, I will get an LPG cylinder if I make a booking in 25 days. If I don't get that cylinder is when we need to hit the panic button.
The government.
Hai na? So right now that there is no need to hit the panic button. But anyhow, Tushar.
Please call your...
These people want to do the same thing, Shreya, they did with the oxygen cylinders in 2021. There is no stoppage on bookings of commercial cylinder. There is no supply stop of LPG or LNG. Nothing like that. The government is saying we are monitoring the situation. And the war started only 8 days ago. It's not like the government had a world to prepare. And if the Congress expects that the Prime Minister can tell Americans and Israelis how to run their foreign policy, I think the Congress really has no understanding of how foreign policy works. The same Congress a couple of days ago was backing Iran. Today they have absolutely no words for Iran, which is actually blocking the Hormuz, which is leading to this entire energy supply chain disruption. This is the hypocrisy of the Congress. My only point is, do not panic. This is a very ad hoc situation which is changing literally every minute. We do not know what may happen tomorrow. Tomorrow, for all you know, the Hormuz may open up.
Or we don't know if for the next 4 weeks Hormuz will not open up, right? So, but the point I think Tushar is trying to make, and even I'm trying to make here, Mr. Venugopal, is that maybe a week down the line, 10 days down the line, there will be reason to panic. Is there any reason to panic today? No, there isn't. Therefore, the opposition is really not justified in creating the sort of hue and cry they have. But anyhow, everyone is entitled to their own opinion. Thank you very much for joining us, Tushar. Venugopal Swami, thank you very much for being with us. Sir, I'm afraid I'm out of time. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much indeed. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a quick look at all that has happened today through the day. We'll get to that in just a bit, but first a quick break.